Welcome to an incredible adventure at Disney's Animal Kingdom. In this video, we're taking you on not just one, but two exciting Kilimanjaro Safari rides, back to back. Get ready to experience the wild as we explore the savannah with two different tour guides, each bringing their own unique perspective and stories to the tour. But here's the twist. No two safari rides are ever the same, so you'll definitely want to stick around for both. The second ride is particularly special. It was the last ride of the day, and we nearly had the entire safari bus to ourselves, offering a rare and intimate look at the animals as they wind down for the evening. So buckle up and enjoy the ride as we take you through the heart of Disney's Animal Kingdom, where every journey offers a new adventure.
Here's our lightning lane. Thank you. If you have a stroller, you can park it here. Something I noticed, a lot of times they have an attendant on duty for strollers because people will just take and push them in here, and the attendant will take and line them up nicely. Nice little service they do. They have these fans that blow on just about every ride because they know how hot Florida is. On the left is a standby line. When you see the people in the standby line, you get really appreciative of the lightning lane.
One of the little ones.
Don't worry, everyone. We are almost ready to board you on our safari vehicles, and I wanted to make certain I told you about our loading procedures. Before you actually enter the loading area, please locate the nearest trash bin and discard.
Thank you for touring Kilimanjaro. When it comes to safari, we go wild.
Welcome aboard. Make sure you're scooting all the way in, making room for everyone in our party. If our entire party does not fit, no worries, friends. We'll be on that next truck today. If you're finding your seats on the right-hand side, watch your hands, arms, feet, and legs. Doors are sliding on closed. The animals are scared of It's not a worry. It's not a does we stay here. We're going to stay here in Harambe is Harambe. Let's go. Jumbo, everyone. My name is Jessica. I'm here today. I do need everyone to remain fully seated at all times, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs fully inside the safari vehicle. Our first stop today is going to be the Little Aturi Forest, and the Little Aturi Forest is home to the more shy animals on the reserve. They're going to use their natural camouflage to blend in with their surroundings and hide from predators. So it might be just a little bit harder to find, but I will do my best to point out all the ones that I can find for you out there today. Over on the left-hand side are going to be two different types of antelope. The more tannish brown are going to be the greater kudu. The more orange brown are going to be called the bongo. Now the greater kudu over there are female. I can tell that because they do not have any horns on top of their heads. The greater kudu will have horns getting up to about 6 feet in length. Over on the right-hand side on the hill there is an okapi. And then over on the top of the left-hand side is going to be some saddle-billed storks. Now the bongo and the more orangish brown of the antelope we saw back there. Both male and female bongos will have horns on top of their heads. They're going to lean them against their backs to move through the heavy underbrush of the forest, and males will get a bit darker on the front of their necks and on the front of their legs as they reach maturity age. The okapi we saw back there may look like it was wearing zebra pants. It's not going to be related to the zebra at all. They are just going to be related to the giraffe, the only known relative of the giraffe, which you know because of their similar skeletal structure and also because of their long prehensile tongue. Over on the left-hand side, there is a black rhino. Black rhinos are going to have a triangle-shaped prehensile upper lip, which they're going to use to grab onto grasses and hay. They're about 3,000 pounds when fully grown and are mainly solitary as they are very, very territorial. majestic in it. We saw those saddle-billed storks earlier. They'll stand about 5 feet tall, have a wingspan of around 9 feet wide, and are also mainly solitary, but they will mate, and they will mate for life. So that was a mated pair that we saw back there. And they're going to communicate to each other by rattling their bills back and forth. Now we are making our way on out of the Little Aturi Forest here, and our next stop will be the Safi River. As we make our way down into the Safi River here, it looks like there are quite a few pink-backed pelicans over on the right-hand side. Pink-backed pelicans are going to get their name from the pink color on their back, so they'll get a bit darker during mating season. They're also going to be colonial nesters, which means they will nest in pairs. Anywhere from 20 to 500 of those pairs, which is going to be quite a lot of those pelicans. As you move a bit further into the Safi River here, I want you to look down in the water, see if you can see any shadowy shapes or any sort of air bubbles, as both of those are going to be great indicators of Nile hippos. Nile hippos can hold their breath for up to around 8 minutes at a time and are more than capable of swimming, but oftentimes instead will choose to walk or run along the bottom of the river to get to where they need to go. Babies are born about 85 pounds, and the adults getting anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 pounds when fully grown. And it looks like there was at least one down there in the water that I caught a quick glimpse of. Kind of hiding down there on the left. That's me. Also down on the left, there are quite a few Nile crocodiles. Nile crocodiles are going to be the largest of the crocodilian species over in Africa, getting up to about 16 feet in length from the tip of the nose to the tip of bone-crushing strength. While they are bone-crushing, though, they can also be quite nurturing, as mother and father Nile crocodiles are going to help their young hatch by rolling around their eggs in their mouth to soften those eggshells with their saliva. Now we are making our way out of the Safi River here. We're going to be heading on over to the savanna. And the savanna is going to be one of the harshest ecosystems in the world. With heavy rainfall leading to flash floods, to no rain at all, which can lead to prolonged droughts. There are going to be millions of migratory animals that will visit the savanna each year that will need to learn how to adapt to those harsh conditions. One of the ways they can do that is the baobab tree coming up on our right-hand side. The baobab tree over there can remain leafless for up to 9 whole months of the year, and it'll store all that water in its very large trunk. It will do that in case there is a drought, not for themselves though, but for the animals out there, as they will rip off pieces of its bark, which has a spongy-like texture inside, and they can then suck or squeeze the water out of to drink. That's definitely going to be very, very helpful for all of those animals out there, especially when there's been no rain for a few weeks to even a few months, and those watering holes will start to dry up. Now, it does look like there is quite a bit of movement up ahead here on the savanna, which is definitely very exciting. So keep your eyes open for any movement that we might see as we make our way down here today. Over on the left-hand side there, it looks like there are a few African painted dogs laying down in between the two trees there on the left. African painted dogs are one of the most successful pack hunters in the world, and each of them will have a unique design on their coat patterns. None of those coats are going to be the same, even though they might look quite similar. They're also going to have a wide range of vocal communication noises, some of which might even sound like high-pitched chirping noises. Up ahead on the left-hand side, looks like there are a few of the Hartmann's mountain zebra. The Hartmann's mountain zebra are going to be the smallest of the zebra species over in Africa, and each of their stripe patterns will be completely unique. So just like those African painted dogs will have unique patterns, the zebras will have unique stripes. Now they are actually going to use those stripes to help identify each other. They'll memorize those stripe patterns, make sure to tell each other apart. They are also going to be very helpful for us when we are tracking those migratory groups and patterns of those animals over in Africa. We will use those stripe patterns as well. And then a group of them will be called a dazzle. Over on the left-hand side are a few springbok. These springbok are going to be a type of antelope, probably the smallest, standing at about 2 to 3 feet tall, almost Morse code with their tan, brown, and white stripes. Those springbok are going to get their name from the way they spring up in the air, about 6 feet high. They can also leap about 13 feet forward, and they have a defense mechanism called Paronking, P-R-O-N-K-I-N-G, where they will jump up and down to that 6 foot height repeatedly to deter predators from approaching them. Around the corner here on the left-hand side, it looks like there are quite a few Maasai giraffe. Maasai giraffe are going to be the tallest land animal, standing at about 16 to 20 feet tall. The Maasai giraffe, like the relative the okapi we saw earlier, are going to have those very long prehensile tongues, which they are going to use to grab onto their food in a method called browsing. Their tongue is going to be a dark purple, almost a blackish color, so they do not get sunburnt throughout the day. Friends, let's make sure we're not calling out to these animals. Alright, we want to make sure we're being respectful of them in their home. We want to make sure we're not making any noises at them, yelling at them. We want to make sure that we feel very comfortable in their environment. Over on the right-hand side there are a few wildebeest. Wildebeest are going to be one of the largest migratory animals. They'll migrate in a group of up to 1.5 million and travel around 500 to 1,000 miles in a year. Friends, let's make sure we're not passing our children back and forth as well. They do need to remain fully seated in one spot for the entire safari.
There's a giraffe in our way. We're not able to drive because we didn't want to hit it. Look at that.
Giraffe we saw earlier, again, tallest land animal. Babies are born at about 6 feet tall and can stand and walk around an hour after birth. A group of them while standing still is going to be called a tower, and a group of them on the move is going to be called a journey. Over there in that red clay, and it looks like I found the elephants that might have made those tusk marks. Now African elephants will dig, they'll break off chunks of it. It's got lots of great minerals and nutrients in there for them to eat, almost like a multivitamin that we might take. This is going to be a family group, as there oldest female, the matriarch, that will all work together to take care of the younger elephants. Now, the matriarch is not always the oldest in the group, but it will be the one with the most experience. She's the one that knows where to find all the food and water to make sure that the younger ones in the group get all the food and nutrients that they need. African elephants are going to be the largest land animal, get up to about 14,000 pounds when fully grown. And on hotter days, you'll even see them flapping their large ears back and forth to cool themselves down up to around 15 degrees. They're going to use their trunks, grab onto their food and water, bring it up to their mouths to eat or drink. They're also going to spray mud or water onto their backs to cool themselves in the skin throughout the day. Around the corner on the left-hand side here are going to be quite a few of the greater flamingo. Greater flamingo are called such because they are the largest species of flamingo. They're also going to be the lightest pink. They're going to get their light pink color from the brine shrimp that they eat, which has beta carotene in it. And a group of them will be called a flamboyance. Into a little bit of a different area of the savanna here, which usually means we're going to be seeing some different types of animals. Over on the left-hand side, it looks like there are a few white rhinos laying down there. Get their name from the mispronunciation of the Afrikaans word "weit," which means wide, as a descriptor of their wide mouths. They're going to use their wide mouths to graze on hay and grass. I can get anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000. Over on the right are a few ostrich. Left-hand side, it looks like there is a cheetah up on top of the hill there. Cheetahs are the fastest land animal, reaching speeds up to about 60 miles an hour, which they can do in just 3 seconds. They're going to use their tails to help balance while moving at those very fast speeds. And they also have little black lines coming down from underneath their eyes to absorb sunlight and reduce glare. Around the corner on the left-hand side is going to be an island formation of rocks called a kopie. Oftentimes up on kopies we might see larger predators, so keep your eyes open for any large predators that might be out on that kopie today. Around the corner, we're going to be seeing those ostrich again. The ostrich are going to be the largest bird. They're also going to be completely flightless, so their large wings cannot help them get off the ground. Instead, they will help them steer while moving at speeds of up to around 43 miles an hour, covering about 10 to 16 feet per stride while moving at those very fast speeds. Over on the left-hand side are a few warthog burrows. Warthogs are going to be the largest burrowing animal over in Africa. More than capable of making their own burrows. Sometimes they might reduce, reuse, recycle some, and they will back up into those burrows with their razor-sharp tusks pointing outwards as a defense mechanism. And again, those ostrich there on the right. And down on the right-hand side, looks like there might even be a glimpse of a few ostrich eggs laying down there in the grass. Ostrich eggs are about 3 pounds each in weight and can withstand the weight of the average needing to support the full weight of that ostrich. Now we are making our way out of the savannah here. We're going to be heading on into Magadi Glen. And Magadi Glen is home of our wardens post. Now what our wardens do throughout the day is make sure that all of our animals are happy and healthy. Make sure everyone's doing well. They are a very vital part to helping this reserve run smoothly. We definitely could not do what we do here at the Harambe Wildlife Reserve without the help of our wardens. It looks like our wardens might have a few helpers of their own. They're going to be called the Nigerian dwarf goats. Nigerian dwarf goats are social, playful animals. They'll jump and climb on pretty much anything that they can. They're also very useful. They'll help clear unwanted bushes and weeds from farmland. They provide a very sweet milk that's going to be high in nutrients that our wardens can drink as milk or turn into butter or cheese. Now we are making our way out of Magadi Glen here and away from the Nigerian dwarf goats, which does mean the approaching end of our safari. I would like to talk about conservation for a few moments with you. One of my favorite conservation topics is going to be driving to zebra. The Disney Conservation Fund teaming up with researchers and farmers over in Africa to help pregnant zebra. And you may be wondering why pregnant zebra need help. That's because they need to drink a lot of water. Oftentimes to get to that water, they're going to walk through farmland, maybe stepping on a few crops. They do not know what farmland is, they are just trying to get to their water. But the farmers, that is their livelihood, they do not want those animals stepping on their crop. So what they did is they built fences all around their farmlands, completely blocking the zebra from getting the water that they need. Which we do not want. We want these animals to repopulate safely and live very long lives, and of course they cannot do that without access to water. So what the Disney Conservation Fund did is they teamed up with those researchers and those farmers over in Africa to build pathways throughout their farmland. So the zebra are able to get the safe and constant access to water that they need, and those farmers are able to keep all of their farmland intact. And that's going to be a truly amazing example of coexistence between humans and wildlife, and is also one of the biggest goals of the Disney Conservation Fund, which is truly inspiring to me. So if you found any animal out there particularly inspiring, you want to learn more about them, please feel free to come up and ask questions, but also to go out there, do your own research. There's so much you can learn about all these amazing animals, and I definitely want to make sure you learn as much as you can on your journey out there today. If you're a wilderness explorer on board, your code word for today's safari badge is going to be the Simba1, S-I-M-B-A, just like the line, and then the number 1. And you'll find my friend with the orange satchel at the end of our safari today to go ahead and grab that safari badge. Now it will be just a few moments before we head on into the village here today. If you're looking to see some more animals, you can head on over to 2 of our self-guided trails. One is going to be right here in Africa, the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. Self-guided means you will walk along on your own. You can take wheelchairs and strollers as well. They are completely accessible. You'll be able to head on over. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes each. There are plenty of information placards along the way, as well as a few wardens that will help you if you do have any questions that you need answered. Okay, there's one right here in Africa, which is the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. You'll be able to find some of the animals we saw out there in Africa, and some that we definitely did not, including the western lowland gorillas. Then you can also head on over to Asia to the Maharaja Jungle Trek, where you'll see some tigers, some bats, even a Komodo dragon. Definitely very, very fun. I recommend checking them out if you do have the time today. We are heading into the village here, which does mean it is almost time to say goodbye. I do not like to say goodbye though, for it is much too sad and far too final. So instead what I'll say to you all today is Kuwakarini, and Kuwakarini does mean to go well. So do go well, go wild, go have a great rest of your day out there at Disney's Animal Kingdom, or wherever your next adventure may take you.
All right, we are now walking to the Kilimanjaro Safari. This is the last ride of the day here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. They're getting ready to close, so we're taking the last ride available. As you can tell, there's no wait time or anything. It's like 5 minutes before 7, and this park closes at 7. And we're taking the standby route.
The Harambe Wildlife Reserve, one of the largest and most beautiful animal parks you will visit anywhere. Our mission is to conserve and protect this small part of the great savannas of Africa, and of course, to share it with you. Today,
Here's some of the decorations that they have here as you walk by. Looks like there might have been some type of, yep, there's some birds over there in the distance. They look like they have mohawks. It's kind of nice that they have those things for those who have to stand in a standby line. They also have these placards with some little fun facts about the animals. Oh, I love riding this with no line, just walking right through. Because this is one of those rides that usually has a 60-minute wait time or more. Hello.
They've been keeping her out longer.
As you approach the loading platform, please note that it is divided into two distinct zones.
Whoa, look at that.
Handrails is the loading zone. Also,
I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's some type of rabbit with those ears.
Zone 2 is immediately behind it. As you move out into Zone 2, please note the 4 circles at the feet in each row of the zone. Each row
That was funny.
seat 4 adults.
What kind of rabbit was that?
Next to or on the back of their parents.
Thanks.
As the group ahead of you boards the safari car.
That was kind of neat. They let me get pretty close to it. Oh man, there's hardly anybody on this truck. Two.
The unpaved roads of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve has rough and rugged terrain. You may experience bumps and sudden jolts with this safari adventure. To ensure a safe and pleasant trip, you should be in good health and free from high blood pressure, heart, back or neck problems.
All right, we're loading.
Sani-san awarded. That means thank you very much in Swahili. Another thing we like to say here in Harambe today, which means let's go. Jumbo friends, my name is Mackenzie and I'll be your safari guide through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Just a couple safety reminders before we get this show on the road. Please remain seated at all times and also keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the vehicle. We are going to start our journey off in the Little Aturi Forest. A lot of the animals in this forest are known for their very unique patterns on their fur that help them blend into their surroundings. So it might be a bit harder to see, so we're going to keep our eyes open. On the right is the okapi. They kind of look like they're not related to zebras. Actually, the only relative of the giraffe. And we know that because both the okapis and the giraffe have the same skull shape and the same long prehensile tongue. On the left, there's a saddle-billed stork standing there. That's a female. She has yellow eyes. The male has brown. The saddle-billed storks don't vocalize like other birds. Instead, they rattle their bills together to make noise. That's how they communicate with one another. And their wingspan gets about 9 feet wide, which is the same width as the canopy above your head. On the right on top of the hill, there's a greater kudu. It's kind of on the other side of the bushes now. The greater kudus are a type of antelope. There's Rhino running. On the left, look at him running. The black rhinos are the smaller of the two African rhinoceros species. They do get to about 3,000 pounds. They're usually found alone, unless it's a mom with a baby. They're just pretty solitary animals. Never seen him run before. That was cute. Their horns are made out of keratin. It's the same thing our hair and nails are made out of. It goes orange color, and then there's those greater kudus. So these are all females. Only the male greater kudus have the horns, but both male and female bongos have them. And these antelopes both have white stripes on their side, while the okapis have them on their legs. But the stripes are there to kind of mimic the sun rays coming through the trees, help them blend in. The bongos are specifically very good at hiding. They are known as the ghosts of the forest. It's very rare to see them out in the wild because they're super shy, very good at camouflage. We're gonna make our way out of that forest. And at the bottom of this hill is the Safi River. Safi is Swahili for fresh. So we'll see some freshwater friends. Like these pink-backed pelicans down here. They love these quiet and shallow backwaters. And then in the water, kind of over your right shoulder in that water, they're almost all, almost fully submerged up in the water. Pretty hard to see them. They can actually fall asleep under the water. And the pelicans, they are nesting right now. It is kind of mating season for them. They are colonial nesters, which means they return to the same place each year in big colonies that can get to 500 pairs of pelicans. We'll keep our eyes open for any more hippos. They fall asleep under the water because they can hold their breath for about 8 minutes, and their body will naturally float them up to the surface to get a breath without waking them, just like how our body turns us in our sleep. So we'll keep our eyes open for any shadows under there. Usually they do come out at nighttime to graze grass, and they roam large distances, so I think the ones over here probably are roaming around somewhere. They can get to roam 6 miles in a single night. Wow. And then coming up on our left are the Nile crocodiles, the largest crocodilians in Africa. Look at this one under the water on the left down there. Of any animal on the reserve. They get chomped down through bone. However, they can also be very gentle too. They'll scoop up their baby's eggs inside their mouth if there's any danger. They'll even roll them around against their teeth with their tongue to help them hatch. Sometimes baby crocodiles will even ditch a ride in their parents' mouth a little faster over large distances. And speaking of large distances, looks like we're about to head into the savanna. You can see a lot farther up ahead. There are a lot less trees and bushes. It also means there are less places for the animals to hide. So they cannot rely on their camouflage to keep them safe out here as much as the friends we saw earlier in the forest. Instead, savanna animals must rely on their speed and agility to keep them safe. See some wildebeest off in the distance. See what other fast animals we can find out here. Looks like they're on that side of the savanna. The landscaping out here is kept very neat and tidy by the residents. Like those wildebeest, they mow the lawn. There's some tall animals that will trim the trees. And some big animals that like to knock over trees to make room for new ones to grow. So we'll see if we can find any of those. We have a bunch of termite mounds all around. Termite mounds are made out of dirt and dung and spit, and they bake in the savanna heat, so they're as tough as concrete. Whoa. So the big animals like elephants, we use them to get scratch and itch. So on the right there, that one has been worn down over the years. And some of the smaller animals will climb to the top of that one to keep a lookout. The termite mounds, they are not solid, they are pious, and they have a lot of places for the termites to hide in. It's like a big fortress for them. On the top of the hill, looks like we have some Ankole cattle and some wildebeest. The Ankole cattle are one of the 2 domesticated species we have here on the reserve. They are considered sacred, so they're never used for meat or milk. They're more like a symbol of wealth. So the more Ankole cattle you have, the more money you got. Looks like there's 2 over there. So Ankole cattle, you can kind of see their horns from over here, about 4 feet long each. And the wildebeest, they all have the horns too. The wildebeest usually use their horns as a way to protect themselves. Also use it to dig up roots and stuff to eat. And the Ankoles use them for protecting themselves too, but they also use it to regulate their body temperature. So since their horns are huge, they have a lot of blood vessels in them, so they'll tilt their head back and forth to cycle the blood around, and it cools down, and then it'll cycle back into the rest of their body to cool their temperature. I think maybe there's somebody standing in the road up ahead. That's where we're stopped for a second. Groups of them can range into the hundreds of thousands. Left are the giraffes. Look at them, they're all giraffes. They have darker spots than the other species. They're also taller on average. Get to around 18 to 20 feet tall. And they have the 2 little ossicones on their head, which are horns covered in fur. Because of those long legs, it takes a lot of energy to sit down and stand back up. So giraffes will stand for most of their life, even while they're sleeping and while they're giving birth, which means the first thing a baby giraffe experiences is gravity. They fall 6 feet to the ground, jump starts their lungs, gets them ready to run within an hour of their life. So they don't really need to sleep a whole lot. They only need about 30 minutes a day. And they don't need to do that consecutively. They could just take a couple power naps. And that clears up the rest of the day for eating. They'll spend up to 20 hours eating or chewing their food. They're like ruminants. They're like cows. So they have 4 chambers in their stomachs. So they'll chew the food, swallow it. They'll go through one section of the stomach to partially digest it. Then they will regurgitate it and chew, swallow over and over and over again.
Are their tongues black?
Yeah, it's like a purplish, blackish color. We don't really know why, but our best guess is that the dark color helps protect their tongue from getting sunburnt. Since, you know, they eat a lot, their tongues are out.
Sure.
Looks like this one's coming to check out what's going on. This is the youngest one up ahead.
There's like nothing going on here. Just walking through the lane.
They're terrifying.
She's like, what's going on over here? Got any snacks?
Got any snacks?
They might be looking for snacks.
It does look like she's like trying to see what's happening. That's funny.
You like any humans in there?
Where are you stopped?
Stopped in our path?
Okay.
Did something stop?
I think so. Must be a rhino.
Oh yeah.
They've been in and out of the road all day.
Good luck convincing one to move.
And we couldn't even go for it even if we wanted to because now the giraffe's blocking the road.
Yeah, it's nature.
But they make the same noise that goats do. I never heard them before. Kind of cool.
You said they don't like to sit down, but they do sit down on occasion?
Yeah, they do. Usually, not really in the wild, but out here they feel pretty safe, so they'll sit down. Just takes a lot of energy, so they don't love to do it. Looks like they're about to clock out over there.
Maybe that girl over there is feeding them food.
Yeah. Most of the zoos will have like a natural barrier, so you can't really tell unless you know what you're looking for. So yeah, on the left there's some chains down there on that road. That's the cattle guard.
So it's more trouble than it's worth to hunt. That's cool.
And all the animals have like they can choose whether they want to go in for the night. Usually the wildebeest will stay out all night out here. And when that happens, the zookeeper has to stay here all night too.
Keep an eye on them?
Yeah, just like if they are on this, if they're not in their night house, somebody has to keep an eye on them. I think if they're in the night house, everybody could go home though.
Does it ever happen where they all decide to go in the house at the night?
Yeah, it's usually what happens, but they're very well like accustomed to their like little what's it called? Routines. Their routine. So some of them, you know, they're trained, but it's more like a routine. Like they know I go in now, and here's an elephant on the left here. This is an African elephant. Look at his little foot. This is the biggest elephant. He's 42 years old and 13 feet tall. And usually the male elephants like to hang out by themselves, while the females and the babies will live in a big matriarchal herd. Just getting a little snack. An elephant will eat up to 300 pounds of food in a single day. It's a lot of hay, a lot of carrots, and plants. It's a lot. Up ahead we got some greater flamingos. They're called greater because they are the tallest flamingo. When they stand up straight, they get to about 4 to 5 feet tall. You see those ones sitting down in the mud. They are nesting. So if one stands up, you might be able to see an egg. Flamingos are hatched small, fluffy, and gray. And within a year or two of their life, they eat so much shrimp they turn pink. Look on the right. She digging a hole?
Like,
Aw, shake.
keep digging, I'll get the time.
That's funny. Sometimes they throw dust on their backs to cool down. Well, I don't know, she's just digging a hole there. The wildebeest use their horns to dig a root, so maybe she's trying to find a snack in there. That's funny. There's another elephant on the left there. Elephants and rhinos have very sensitive skin, so they both like the mud. On the left, this is a mud wallow where the rhinos roll around. The mud will coat their skin, act like a sunscreen, bug repellent, and moisturizer all in one. You see a lot of the rocks and trees around here are covered in that orange mud, probably from when one scratched their side to get some excess mud off. So we'll keep our eyes open for any of the white rhinos. I think they were the ones in the road, so they might be around here. And then, but first, coming up on our left, there's a cheetah up on the top of that hill. Cheetahs are the fastest land animal. They can get from 0 to 70 miles an hour in 3 seconds. But they can't maintain that speed forever. It is about a couple hundred yards before they must slow down. They're kind of like sprinters. And yeah, they're cool. There's some more over here. They're pretty hard to spot. Get it? Yeah, they're neat. They cannot roar. Instead, she just purr and meow, just like a house cat. They're the biggest cat that can do that. There's another big cat coming up here, but look, don't look at that bunny. There's a lion, just lying around up there. He probably won't roar, but at nighttime they do roar. At top volume, it can be heard from about 6 miles around. There's another bunny. So he's got that big fluffy head of fur protect him, kind of like a helmet. She's around there too. The females do the hunting at night while the males stay at home, protects the cubs and the pride. There she is up there. Yeah. So yeah, you see there's like that moat down there?
Yeah.
So that's what keeps them over there. And she's... Man, I've never seen this many bunnies. Look, that's a good picture right there. Look at her.
There's some great.
That cat.
It's like cats looking out the window.
Wondering if she get up or not.
Those are African bunnies. Ha 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 ha. Lionesses, they're the hunters, and they hunt in a team. They're one of the only big cats that will hunt as a team. Most other cats are solo, like the cheetahs. Well, don't see any rhinos. It must have went in. But on the right, there's a big pile of rhino poop. All the rhinos poop in the same place, and they use it as a way to communicate with each other. They'll all come over and smell each other's poop, see who's in the area, who's single and ready to mingle. Sounds like a joke, but it's true. And on the right are a couple of the ostrich's eggs. I didn't see any of those ostriches, but each of the females in the area will lay their eggs together for safety, but they're very safe on their own. A single ostrich egg weighs as much as 24 chicken eggs. So they're so dense that an adult human can stand on one and it wouldn't even crack the shell.
They leave them unattended?
Sorry. What'd you say?
They leave the eggs unattended?
Yeah, so most of the animals know not to mess with the ostrich's eggs because they have a very powerful kick. But usually they'll probably come back in a second to check them out. They're usually not too far away from them. This is the warden's post. Warden hangs out here. Got some, if you see that yellow thing, the yellow and wooden thing in the middle yard, it's a beehive. That's how they get their honey. Also serves another purpose. So here in Africa, unfortunately, sometimes elephants will roam into places they're not supposed to be. More specifically, they'll roam into farmers' fields, and they trample and eat all the crops. That's not good for the farmers. They lose all that money. It's also not good for the elephants because it puts them in harm's way. So we've been trying to come up with a nicer and more efficient way of deterring elephants. And through a lot of research and observing the elephants here at Animal Kingdom, we learned that elephants are terrified of bees. They have a very sensitive skin and a great memory, so they never forget a bee sting. So anytime an elephant sees or hears a bee, they will run in the opposite direction. It gave us a good idea to build those beehives around places we don't want the elephants to go, and it's a win-win-win situation for everyone. Nobody gets hurt. The elephants, almost said the elephants get to keep the honey. No, the farmers keep their honey, get some extra to sell. It's also good for the bees because they are near extinction. So it's good to help them out in any way we can by providing them with homes. The Elephant and Bees Project is a great example of how we can coexist with animals and all benefit each other. So it looks like we're nearing the end of our journey here. Hope you guys had fun, learned some new stuff. If you have any more questions, anybody in khaki can answer them for you. We don't like to say goodbye, because goodbye is far too sad and much too final. So instead of saying goodbye, we say kwaherini, which means to go well in Swahili. Thank you. If you're sitting on that right hand side, wash your hands, arms, feet, legs, doors will be opening. Kwaherini.